There's one fatal flaw that stops Gen Z from actually building anything that lasts, especially when it comes to business. And that one flaw really is that if the main reason of why they do what they do is solely because of money, that's for me, if I'm ever seeing that, that's the one factor that I know is going to honestly stop them from actually being able to build as something that lasts actually effectively. Now, for many people, they could say, why is this even a flaw? Well, here's two reasons why I could say this is actually a flaw. So the first reason is because many people really start out wanting to make the money, wanting to make 10K a month, 25K a month, or whatever the case is, right? But then when it comes to actually brass tacks and they're actually implementing all the strategies and all this different jazz, and the money doesn't necessarily come, they're more easier. Well, they're more likely to actually quit and just stop altogether, because the one main reason why they were doing what they're doing is not to help anyone, but solely just to make some money. Then when the money doesn't show up, why should they continue? They should go through a different route or a different avenue that's much easier, that's much quicker to do something like that. Now, money is important, don't get me wrong, but if that's your sole reason, then honestly, I was one of these people as well. I just got super discouraged and kind of gave up really easily because I was only ever focusing on the money that I could ever make. Then here's the second thing. When money's primarily the goal for you, a lot of times that can really just turn into you really being only ever driven, or the only measure of success is not the client results that you have. It's not the results that you're actually changing these people's lives, but it's how many people you bring into your program, how much money you're actually taking in. Which, sure, it's a measure of success in different areas, but if that's your main thing, you can often forget the person behind the purchase. And oftentimes I've even seen this where people are even trying to sell other people like into their products and into their services that don't really align with them, and just trying to sell anyone who has a pulse and a credit card. I've honestly seen firsthand that people like that have failed much easier than people who are really centered on the work that they actually do. And I've seen this so well that I actually want to share this specific story with you. But let's get a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, just to be a little bit more comfortable right now. So this story really is actually from one of my first mentors, because when I first met him, actually, he was making around 100K a month, and he was just 2 years older than me. At that point, he was around 22, and he was really, really impressive. He taught me everything I needed to know when it comes to, learning a little bit more about copywriting, appointment setting, and all that jazz to actually get me started. Because after going through the program that I once joined in, which was a really great product, had a community to help me learn the skill of appointment setting, to learn everything that I need to know to actually become successful as an appointment setter working for somebody else. In all honesty, like, he kind of disappeared shortly after I started working. Like, there was no really much sign of him. He stopped posting content online. I heard that the program wasn't even available anymore. And it was very, very weird. And in all honesty, like, even my boss, she's kind of good friends with him. And so, like, he was actually able to see him outside of the whole thing. And even from there, he noticed that he was like my mentor, previous mentor, making 100K a month before. He went back to doing DoorDash for a living, and that was just wild to me, because I jumped in and he helped me so much in just learning the specific things, and like with my mindset and everything else like that, practicing the skill, learning actual things that I could use to learn the skill so that I could give value to other people. And at the same time, he kind of fell off really hard. In all honesty, like, that brought a lot of insecurity to me. And this is just me being as vulnerable as I can. I got scared, because I got scared of what if he was able to fall off when he had like pretty much $1 million company at that point, and scaling and getting better and all that jazz, and actually providing results for people. Like, what does that mean for me? And I learned just from him. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do something, whether it's similar or just like employ these different resources for something different. And it was insane. And it really just struck me, because the main thing that this really held me back and really made me scared was every single time I tried to do something with, building out an offer, making something that's valuable for other people, I would always second guess it, thinking that I would become more like him. And then I had to realize something, because there was this one time where I was sitting at my desk, like how I normally do, in every sale of this video. And I'm sitting there and was like, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours just writing for this offer that I want to create. And instead of sitting there for those 2 hours, being inspired and kind of like creating and doing all that, being productive, I actually went down a downward spiral. And that spiral just put me into more doubt, made me more insecure, second guessing everything that I could ever think of like what could work. And I honestly wanted to give up. I wanted to throw it all in the towel again. And it really was a low point for me. And I can't imagine for countless other people as well that have kind of like learned from him too. But I honestly had to take a breath after that 2 hours and start working and whatnot. But I had to kind of like understand like, okay, there's a difference between who he was and who I am. Because here's something that I've seen. Because I was very into like the community that was made throughout that business. Very wonderful community, super active. I was able to know a lot of his employees too, because they were even like parts of my community as well. And the one thing I started noticing when things were kind of falling off was that I knew from some of his salespeople that the kind of initiative or the goal wasn't exactly like find people who are qualified to come in. It was just let as many people come in as you can, which is just like making absurd payment plans to make sure that they can get in and whatnot. And it was really, really wild, like just letting anyone in. But kind of the main problem with that was like he was looking to make more and more money, getting more and more people in. But the thing is, if you're adding so many people into a community that you promise them a result of like, actually being able to work for a company, there's going to be too many people that you don't have enough companies for them to work for. And so people then get unsatisfied, the guarantees don't get met, and all that jazz. And so everything kind of went crumbling down from there. And that honestly kind of, I was just like, whoa, that's insane. And then to realize like they didn't even bounce back from that. Like the whole thing is dissolved. Like you wouldn't find that today. And then I noticed that there was a key difference, and I honestly address this and kind of remind myself because it was a constant battle of like me thinking that I was like him, where I had to remind myself like at that moment where everything kind of fell. I know he was focused on replicating those 100K months and making more. That was his main goal because he would say it all the time to his team members and everything. But I know for me, money is a good goal. Don't get me wrong, really. And I need it for, provide for my family, for my future and all that, getting married soon, all that jazz. But at the end of the day, like I know the way that I'll get there is by helping people. And the main thing for me is like rather than just having the amount of money, right, which I'm even getting now, is honestly, am I doing something that's actually helping somebody else? Where I can actually do it efficiently and actually provide a result for them. That's the main kicker for me. I'm more looking for impact while he was looking for more money. And the thing is, money is always a lagging indicator of impact that you provide for other people. Because when you do something that actually changes someone, whether they paid for it, whether they got something for free, whatever the case is, like they are more likely to give you more money as appreciation. And that's what so many people of my generation often lose. They don't know or like they're not aware. And because that's the truth. Because if you focus on giving the proper results to the people that you're trying to serve and what problem you're looking to solve, that will make you money. That will get you to the heights of success, not instantly, it's over time, but you're building it off goodwill. Like Alex Ramosi says, you're here to build goodwill, and out of the goodwill, people will then be like, hey, this guy has been really great, great reputation and everything. I think I should trust him. Like, I would trust him when it comes to like this specific information, this specific strategy, or whatever the case is, right? And that's the route I want to go towards. I'm not here just to take people's money or whatever. I'm not even doing that now. But I'm honestly here to serve. That's what all of these videos are for, really. Because I want to serve you as best I can with these videos and this free information and the stories that I've learned and like the kind of bits and pieces that you can take from each one of these things. And then the free resources that I have available and whatnot. and then slowly kind of like making a product and whatnot to actually help you more efficiently too, and like in terms of like having my time be valuable and stuff like that. But the main thing for me is like I want to have an impact because I know that's part of the reason why God has told me to go in this direction, as well as that's part of my purpose on this earth, to leave it slightly different than how I got in it. And if that could be, I don't know, 10, 15 people that I help them learn this skill so that they can adequately kind of change their lives as starting up and then really get adequately like prepared to start a business that they actually want to make, that would mean the world to me, in all honesty. And like that would affect so much areas of my life, like not even just my self-confidence, but me showing up as a husband, me showing up as a son, me showing up as a future father. Like that's the difference. It's not just the money that I bring home that makes me feel like a man or whatever, but it's more of like, no, I'm actually providing a difference. I'm making a difference. And that's the main thing that I see missing a lot on Instagram with my generation specifically, because most things that like appeal to people is like the fancy cars, the nice lifestyles, all this different jazz. But in reality, it's just like the real successful life that people tend to be living is a lot off time, because it's the connections and the impact that you're actually giving to other people, and that's the main difference. And that's what changes lives. And that's just more of my heart behind this. Not to prove you wrong or whatever the case is, but more of the sense of just if you're only focused on money, which I get it, it's a really good indicator, like a indicator of success, and it's a really good motivation to have at first. But if you don't have anything deeper than that, first of all, you're not most likely not going to stick with it when things get hard, because you're not going to make the money, and then you're going to pivot to something else that you try and make more money with. Trust me, I've been there. But then secondly, if you actually do have some success, you're at a higher likelihood of burning it all if your only sole focus is making money. Because then you lose the perspective of the person behind each purchase. And so rather than actually helping them have the solutions that you offer as the main goal, you're just like, hey, you got a pulse and you got a credit card, give me it. That version of a company is what people hate capitalism for, in all honesty. Because they're not here to add more value necessarily. They're here to like kind of take, and not do it in a good conscious kind of way. And so I'll just close with this. Like, really, if you're a person who wants to make a difference and you are entrepreneurial, you've been maybe all throughout your life or even just this season of your life, instead of asking how much money do you want to make, which is it's an important question, but I want you to start with this. What's the main reason you're doing this for? What's the problem that you want to solve, and who are you solving that for? Because once you have a clear understanding of what those two things, then the practical amount of money that you can make is much more tangible because you actually solve important problems for important people. I mean, I love you. If you like this video and this kind of helped you at least understand this a little bit more, I mean, feel free to check out the video where I go over my 3-part DM framework. Where that's pretty much how I was able to really succeed as a setter and actually double my income from that. And so, I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.